So, as
Yeah,
you well said there, there's so many people around you that you can just ask for help and ask for advice.
yeah. Of course, I mean, it's different on every site you go. You know, you might be working with a bunch of people who are just not great people you want to be learning around. You know, don't really want to spend the time trying to teach you and things like that. But you know, it also it's a two-way street. If I could have gone to any site and then had a bad attitude, and no one really wanted to teach me. But
Yeah.
I went to work every day, I had a good attitude, a smile on my face. Uh, I tried to make people laugh, build a relationship with them, ask them questions all the time. You know, sometimes they'll answer them, but be like, "I'll tell you in a minute," or carry on working. Um, so you know, it's a two-way street. There are always people out there who want to help you, but you need to be able to want to help yourself.